And we're live. What song is playing in your head right now? There's no thoughts. Yeah, that's so funny. Okay, I'm in a different. Ooh, my camera's like shaking. I'm trying to like adjust down, but because it's making me, not like sitting every. It's just part of life. It just is what it is. Yeah. So
The lighting's always wrong.
yeah. So before we get going, girl, what is in your cup today? What you sipping on?
I made a little one serving of mulled wine, actually.
Okay, because it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock
Yeah.
somewhere. Okay, it's 9 a.m.
Different vibes. It's
Oh
okay.
wait, is it 9 a.m.? Wait,
On a Saturday. I don't know what day it is.
so yeah, golly, Friday, Saturday, they all blend in together. Like after Monday, like what's today? I don't know.
What is the day?
Um, girl. Okay, well, first of all, before we get going,
Oh.
um, y'all, the time has come to where, look, you should be able to.
Time has come where maybe, if possibly not 100% sure, this would be a great way to try. Don't let us know, please.
But yeah, so yeah, we've been figuring out this techie space, and I think we've kind of got things to figure out the figuring outing,
Have you ever Englished? Or
I promise y'all, it's just water. It's just sea to sea. It's clear. It's not vodka.
I just took one sip. I haven't been drinking this mulled wine. I've only taken one sip.
Oh Lord. Oh yeah.
That's how we are.
It's just how we are. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, so you should be able to go on and order, support the cause. Okay, keep the podcast alive, y'all, because
Live. Because
you
we
know,
can barely do that. So
right. Life ain't free. And from what we can see, y'all are loving it. We've got 50 followers. Oh wait, sorry. This is live, so link in the bio, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And we have 50 followers. Super exciting. So which means we get to go live on YouTube. Super exciting.
Doing things.
Doing the daggone thing. But thank y'all so much for all of the love, for sharing, for commenting. For listening, and all that jive. I know my friends and family get so tired of me because like as soon as an episode drops, I send it. And I'm like, go there and watch it right here.
I had a friend of mine at my graduation ceremony because she came back into the country for the graduation ceremony. She was like, "Oh my gosh!" By the way, she was like, "Congrats on the podcast." She was like, "I love listening to it because it just makes me feel like I'm hanging out with you." And she was like, she was like, "Sometimes when I just like miss you, I just like put on the podcast."
She should comment. She needs to put that on there.
I know. I'm like,
that is so freaking sweet. I love that. Oh, I love that. It's so good to have friends. It's so great. Okay, so yeah. So how's your week, girl?
saying this week. I feel like all the things are just all like happening at once again. That thing that happens is like,
yeah,
I was excited about the new jobs, and then I was like, okay, I'm getting into my speed.
Jobs,
Plural, yeah. It's like, oh, I'm getting into the speed of things and like feeling like I'm getting a flow. And then this week I've got some exciting like projects that are going to be starting, which is great. I've
Yeah.
got an opportunity. I'm going to be performing at the end of the year. I've got an opportunity to choreograph at the end of the year. And then I'm
Oh, that's
also
super exciting.
helping my friend produce a film for her PhD. So like we had our first official
Wow.
production meeting.
Yeah. No, that's so exciting. That's so
It's
exciting.
additionally, Sammy and I have started researching funding for a project that we're going to do. So it's like exciting stuff, but also it's that thing again where I'm doing. I
Yeah.
was trying to be fair, I was trying to rest. I just want everyone and you and all the people to know
It's not possible. It's
I really was
non-Sagittarius
gonna
of
be
you.
chill. It's gonna
It's not a
be chill.
thing. It's not a Sag thing. Chilling is just not a Sag. It's just not a Sag thing. So
I was like, I didn't even try. All these things just happened to all happen at the same. I didn't even try. I was like,
yeah.
oh, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, why not? Because it's hard to turn down any opportunities, one, especially when you're in a season of growth and like when
Yep.
you've got just natural ambition, natural curiosity, natural like just desires and passions, right? It's hard. And so then, you know, the the key to it all is finding that balance by ensuring that there's enough hands to do everything. That way you're not the
Yeah.
only hand to do it. So
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
it's good as well. I have a dancer that I've worked with for the last like 2 years, basically. You've probably seen her on my Instagram, like all my stuff. Um, but she's kind of like taken her as my little under my wing, and so
Yeah.
not only have I got some projects coming up, but I was also able to shift some stuff that had come onto my table. Someone was asking me if I wanted to like do this performance thing for a Halloween party. And I was like, I would love to, but I just do not have it. And so I
Yeah.
was also able to start passing some things
That's
to
awesome.
her. There's no.
Yeah,
How was
and we'll
your week?
talk some because there's some resources that are out there that because Upwork is a real thing, you know.
Upwork is a real thing. And speaking of someone who was looking at Upwork for jobs, people are on there looking for work.
Yeah. So, anywho, well, cool. Sounds like you had a really good and productive week. I, I guess I had the same. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's been kind of a whirlwind of a 7 days. Like, not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
I think the last time that you and I were chatting, and just like our regular not sips check in,
Yeah. Yeah.
just chatting.
Yeah.
Cause I've been working through getting this other home
I know.
and I had issues. And so, yeah, so last Friday I closed. So I was like so happy with that. And that whole process just really, it's so important to like advocate for yourself. And I'm one of those people, like when it comes to like, I may procrastinate in certain areas, but when it comes to having a place to stay, I don't. So,
Yeah.
and I had all my documents together. I purchased a home before. I knew what I needed. I knew who to call. And, for someone to tell me that I didn't have all the information or I needed to try harder to get a certain document that the federal government was saying they can't reproduce. And it really reminded me like why some people just they just can never move forward. They'll because they don't know how to advocate. They don't know what's truth, what's false, what rights do they actually have. Because if I was a first time home buyer, to be honest with you, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I have to give them this document that I can't get, right? And I wouldn't know what to do because everyone was telling me I need to produce this document, except for the federal government. They were like, yeah, no, you should just give them this. And so anywho, finally was able to close. They didn't need anything else from me, like I knew they wouldn't. And then I go Saturday to turn on my Wi-Fi, my internet. The key doesn't work. So they forgotten to change the locks. Luckily, there was a Dropbox or lockbox, so I was able to go retrieve a key that would work, and so I could get in and then go put the key back. So that was quite interesting. But the guy that came to
like, we really just don't want you to have this house.
but that was nothing but the devil. Okay, I was like, no sir, you better stay up underground, not in this house. All right. I actually have to go bless the house. I got my anointed oil. I got to go cover all
Yeah,
the
you gotta
house
do
when
that.
I
You gotta
go
do
back.
that. You gotta do
Um, so, but that was that. And so same last week. So I've been having like severe like back pain and like primarily like walking. Walking hurts.
that.
Like walking, like I know I'll be 40 in December, but like should walking hurt?
No, that's not a thing. That's
Right?
not a thing. That's not a thing.
Walking shouldn't hurt. Um, so when cause that's my primary form of like cardio. So like I'll walk for after like 0.8 miles. I mean, my hip is burning. It's
Burning? What?
like I'm in severe pain. So I always have to stop. I got to stretch and I'm like, you know,
What is
and then I
happening?
just keep going, right? And then I noticed that like my migraines are getting worse and worse,
Yeah.
and there was a day where I could feel my migraine in my hip. Like I could feel, so like that's something I could feel my spinal, like my nerve, right? That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
what
yeah.
that signals. I was like, I've got to go to some sort of a doctor.
Yeah.
Is that me? Can you hear that?
I don't hear anything.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Um, so there was a moment where I'm not crazy. I could hear something. Okay. But there was a moment, let me find a doctor. I can't get into a neurologist
Mm-hmm.
because the way Alabama's written, you gotta send over all your old neurology files before they'll even say give you an appointment. I'm like, y'all look crazy. So I found a chiropractor that has like it's a wellness practitioner, like full wellness. So he actually has his name is Dr. Pitts. He's in Auburn, Alabama. He actually has a X-ray machine and all that. So I wanted to go in there and like let me like do a full body scan, like what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I got my results. Was it this past Monday?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, when he was like doing his physical, he was like, "Oh, your left hip drops." I was like, "Oh, that explains the pain." Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't know what that means, but like clearly it's not normal. So I was like, "Okay, that's explaining the pain." So I went on Monday and I saw my shit. Yo, let me see if I can pull up a picture. It is like my inside is my sister was like, "That's your body? What the hell?"
Oh no.
Um
It's like a zigzag line. It's like that game where
it's
you drop the
not so
ball.
terrible as zigzag exactly, but yeah, it's like getting there. So I don't know is this viewable?
Yeah,
Can you
I can
see
see that.
that?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh gosh. It's like a glare for
yeah.
me.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't see it super clear, but
it's the light. There we go.
okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So how it kind of like, yeah, goes offline and like here's a
You're crooked.
I'm crooked. And like so here's like the
Yeah. What's going
like
on?
that's and then like if you look at my hip, one is slightly higher than
Yeah,
the
I can
other.
see that. Yeah.
And
Even
so
in the glare, I can see that.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad to know that I'm not crazy, first of all, because
Yeah.
I knew there was something going on with my like I'm like, my spine is off. There's just no
Yeah.
way. And so I'm glad about that. But super happy that I found Dr. Pitts. And so he put together a pretty intensive therapeutic plan for me. So like this week I've been to the chiropractor 3 times.
Oh man.
And today my lower back is pretty sore. But like
Yeah.
what they found is like my hips are so tight
Yeah.
because of my misalignment and then like but I'm happy that I went in because if I didn't go in and start to get realigned, then what would happen is like it starts pressing on your organs and then you start to
Hmm.
have some failures and I already have like problems like using the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but he's like, these are certain things that'll start to happen. Your reproductive organs could start like just that shifting because you weren't born that way. So your organs didn't necessarily grow around that. So if you don't take care of
Hmm.
that, it can be a
Yeah.
real problem. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So that's, yeah, I've
Ooh,
spent like half my week
trying to get cracked back into.
trying to get popped back into place. And then on top of that, like, so then they do like Eastem. So it's
Mhm.
like a
Yeah.
Eastem and then some other wave something that they've been doing, showing me stretches to keep the alignment as like to prolong the alignment as much as possible. And so now I'm stretching like, golly, I can't even tell you how many times a day now.
Well, did
Just
they
to,
tell you how they think this happened, or like, is it just because you've been sleeping on it funny, or is it stress, or like
so
or all of the
yeah,
above?
so they yeah, so I just kind of read up on it. So I mean, essentially, it's scoliosis, right? So like so it starts when you're younger. And I remember it was just also, I was like, let me go check on my spine because I remember being in elementary school
Mm.
and going to get like that test. It was either like seventh grade or sixth grade, maybe like middle school or elementary school.
Yeah.
But like during puberty, like they'll have you go do that test. And I remember them telling me that I looked like I was prone for scoliosis.
Mm-hmm.
And so that came to mind when all these things started happening.
Yeah.
And so over years, so like my neck doesn't have a curve, like my spine doesn't have a curve. It's just up and down. I have actually a picture. It shows it. It's just like super static, but you're supposed to have a curve in your neck, and I don't. So it's like, but I've got this like 12-pound head, right? That's sitting on a straight neck that doesn't have any flex. So it presses you down, and it starts to kind of like impact your it just impacts your spine.
Yeah.
And so, but it happens over time. So like the older you get, the more, I mean, best way to say is just, they call it compression, but like wear and tear, right? That starts to happen, but it's like compressing you. And so a lot of times when that happens, it'll compress and it'll cause the spine to shift to one side.
The spine is like, I don't have any place to go, so I have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Literally being crushed by the weight of your dome.
Literally. Okay. Because my damn neck ain't right. So it's just, yeah. So they can get me back to, so my hips are like 14, a little over 14 millimeter difference. Like my left is 14 millimeters lower. And so the goal is to try to get me as close to 0 as possible, but they can't do that. Simply because they don't even know where I started, right? But they said that they can try to get me like within like 3 to 5 of variation, and then I have to wear like a heel. Yeah, it'll be a lot better. Then I can get a heel lift to do the rest of it. But unfortunately, like I have really good insurance. I'm really thankful. My deductible is like $1,200 before they start paying 90%. However, it's not super pricey to go to the chiropractor, so it's not like it's one big procedure that gets you in there or one big whatever. So, and then there's a treatment that insurance doesn't provide right now, like won't pay for right now. Yeah. So like, out of pocket. And I'm still very thankful that, even if it means we're going to eat ramen noodles and rice, girl.
Look, it is what it is.
That I can do it. You're going to be versus getting like surgery and whatever. So like out of pocket, I think it's like 13 something, a little over $1,300. So for like, I forget how many weeks I have to go, like 12 weeks or something like that. So
might as well just
just get it done that way. And then there's maintenance afterwards. So hopefully this works. And anywho, so yeah, that's my week.
So basically you're trying to get your body together.
Trying to get my body together. Y'all, it's so important. Please take heed.
Get your body together. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So I was thinking before we entered this episode about what pop culture things to talk about. I feel like the pop culture things are all the same things from the last episode.
No, I have new ones.
You have new ones. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
But what were you thinking? What were you going to say? No,
I was just like, it's the same stuff. Unless it's like, see, this is where I'm like, did it reach me? Do I know what's happening?
Yeah.
Pop culture moments.
It's stuff out there, man.
Go ahead, then. Yeah. Tell me what your pop culture moments are, because...
Okay, there's two big ones.
Okay.
2 big ones. Gosh. Okay, I'm going to start with the shorter one.
Okay.
And Sammy, you said he's next to you?
He's next to me, but he can't hear you. He'll just hear my response.
But he can hear you, so you can say what I'm going to say. So, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Do you know who she is?
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Do you know who that is? I have no idea.
Does Sammy not know?
No, he said he doesn't know. Caitlin Clark? Do you know who that is? No, he's shaking his head. He doesn't know.
So Caitlin Clark is a rookie basketball player. She's also a minority in the sport,
Yeah.
right? Because she's a white female.
Yeah.
Okay. She went to Iowa State and she plays for, I forget what team she's playing for right now. So she entered into the league. This was her rookie year, and she is balling. Homegirl can hoop. Okay, homegirl can hoop. Like, she is balling. She's like the female Steph Curry. Like,
really,
she's incredible. She's so talented.
Seen this on the internet at all?
You gotta go to the YouTubes. The YouTube will. She's been such a controversy here in the States, WNBA, because when she came out,
not really a thing here. So like the basketball news we get sort of like if it's big, you know.
So when she came into the league, you know, the one thing that the media does very well is cause divisiveness through how, and I shouldn't say the media, I should say corporate media does very well is evoke divisiveness.
Yeah.
In everything. It's always like, what's the latest controversy? Who can we? So you're putting this poor kid in the middle of it because she's a white woman in a predominantly black sport, black dominated sport.
Right.
But she can hoop, right? And so then they started naturally because of the natural where the world is, right? The U.S. is from on a race, the racial tensions that are out there. Now you're bringing in racial divisiveness into sports, into basketball with kids. She's a kid. She's 21 years old from Iowa. Like, went to Iowa. She's a good kid.
Right.
And so now they're saying, you know, she's the best thing that ever happened to the league, and they're really hyping her up, which she is a great thing that has happened to the league. She's brought a lot of fame to the league.
Okay.
But it's also unfair to make these kind of statements because WNBA has been around for a long time.
There's been plenty of change makers and whatever.
There's been so many change makers. You're Lisa Leslie, all this. And so, but again, because of the racial tension that is already there, it makes it so much worse. So initially, man, she was getting her ass kicked. Not intentionally also, but people were like literally on the court. They would push her, they were mad at her. But then when you really stop, it's like, okay, how many people are actually doing this to her intentionally? It's a small percentage. And it's not right, but it's still a small percentage. So, but she has made it very clear that she don't play that shit. She's like, y'all do not cause division. I am not about to, you don't pull the race card with me. Like, you need to respect all women in the WNBA. Don't just elevate me. All my teammates are great. Y'all need to cut this. Like, if you hear her speak, she's such a good person. Like, she does, her fans are her Trumper fans, I should say. Because it's that fan base, right? That is like really saying, oh, black people are trying to hurt. She's our girl. She's our girl.
Yeah.
Like, instead of just letting her be a great basketball player, no, she's our girl, right? It's just causing like stupidity. And so she ended up, so there was a lady, I don't know if it was Aja. So the best team in the league is Las Vegas team. I don't know what they're called. But there's a lady, Aja something. And I think they were trying to say that she like hit her hard or she did. I don't remember I don't know. But there's like all these conspiracies and they were in a game. Actually, it wasn't with Vegas. It was with somebody else, but they were or it might have been with Vegas. I don't remember. But they were in a game and the black lady, she had nails, which I don't think they should allow extensions on the basketball court. True talk. Like, that's kind of dangerous. But she had nails and she went for the ball and her hand, like, it poked Caitlin in the eye. It was an honest accident. Because basketball
it's a physical sport. Like, you're physical.
Physical sport.
Okay.
Girl, the way people try to say that this chick is trying to kill her and they after her and she's the reason why Caitlin did not make it past this, that, and the third. Yeah, she had a bad game because her eye was jacked up, right? And then later on...
Can we just, like, okay, in the NBA, okay, right? There are several white players that are very talented that we gave their flowers, okay? And when they get physical in the NBA, you know, or fights erupt or whatever it is, nobody wants to sit here and you know, try to victimize the white player when it's just basketball. That when it's men, it's just basketball. That's just what happens. But not only that, I can imagine, at least from what you're saying, I can imagine that she also fully understood that it was an accident. That like when you're in the
She
game,
said it. No, she had a press conference and she said it.
it was an accident.
She's like, it was an accident.
Or like
She
when
said
this
it.
happens, if it's a black player against a black player, and no one's being like, "Oh, it's just like, oh my god."
Or a white player against a white player. Or if Caitlyn pushes someone first because it's called a contact sport.
Right.
Like, I saw that. I was so over it. But I really do feel bad for her. I feel bad for her because she just is like, I just wants to play ball. She's a kid. She's 20, maybe 22 now.
But
I don't
also
know.
has worked her butt off, probably.
Worked her
I
butt off.
imagine to be in this positionality, and now they're like
Right.
tainting the sort of
Yes.
like accomplishment of her working
Yes.
so hard to get
Yes.
there, to now make it
Yes.
a thing that she's like,
A
you know,
DEI hire.
right. Which is actually crazy statement. First of all, crazy statement. Because let's just also bring to light the fact that, you know, historically, right, white people are the reason why black people had to excel the way they did in sports,
Yeah.
right? Because it was the only way that they could get certain opportunities historically,
Yeah.
right? And now you're mad because because one of your own made it in a system that you created. Crazy. That's actually crazy.
It's
The cognitive
just,
dissonance is so.
it's so insane. And so, you know, it's so insane. And then for us, like, instead of like, so I watched a clip and there was a really good, talented basketball player that was talking to her teammate. Maybe that's where Aja came in play, but talking to her teammate, basically her teammate who was Hispanic. I think she might be actually Mexican, but she's some form of Hispanic. Mm-hmm. And saying that Caitlyn is benefiting, basically saying that Caitlyn's a DEI hire and she's benefiting from. I'm like, okay, can y'all just, this young woman has busted her ass. If you watch her play, homegirl she killing it. And you are just trying to minimize everything that this is what other groups do to the black community. And you're doing that to someone else. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. It's like you're also part of the problem now. Now you're part of the problem. So now what? Like, you know, no one else is allowed to be good.
Sport. No, basketball is for blacks only, black women only. Only black women can be good.
Right. Which is so
not
black men, true.
White men been killing it. White men been killing it.
Right. I also think it's like, it's crazy that all of this is popping up specifically in the WNBA, because again, it's like, because what? Because women, like, you know what I mean?
So women?
Because women, now it has to be all this drama, unnecessary drama. Like, there's like a generalized understanding in male sports, right?
Yeah.
NBA, NFL, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Right? That like all of that is whatever, because it's just the game. The game is what the game is. And you don't bring in this drama, you don't bring in all this shenanigans, because this is just the game and this is how the game is played. But all of a sudden, because the woman. Right. She's a woman and like, but also what I will say is that like, it already shows like a great trajectory for the future as well, because you've got this young 21-year-old already is well aware of her positionality, is well aware of how to navigate appropriately conversations. And so it also is kind of like good to see that, like,
it is,
you know, it gives me a little bit of hope that like these Gen Zers that I feel like the millennials are always making fun of or whatever. Like,
No, for
yeah, they
sure.
got some weird slang, but like, they really are.
Yeah,
They're going to be
everyone's
the ones
corrupt.
to challenge the system that, in a lot of
Yeah,
ways, there's a decent population of millennials that are too afraid to do. So,
yeah. No, I, I,
I,
I love her. I really respect her. And then also she got a little bit of flack from her Trump support, fans, because she liked Taylor Swift's post
oh
endorsing
my God.
Kamala, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're our girl. Tell me you're not stupid."
I really would love for you to film these impressions and just send them to me. They don't need to go out to anyone. I need them. I need them. Oh my God. Golly.
So ridiculous.
Crazy.
Anywho, okay, so the next one, I don't know if you have
We'll say it anyways.
watched
It's also just
this.
informative for me, so I didn't realize how much I was missing.
Love is Blind.
Oh my God, I haven't. I've been trying, and I keep seeing clips. And the one clip that I saw, I was like, oh my God, I need to watch this.
You
Is
watch it.
I don't know their names right now, but
It's okay.
where
What do they look
like
like? I know all their names.
beard,
Well, maybe not.
beard, and then like
Redhead?
mixed or like mixed
The
girl.
redhead?
I guess he's redhead. I'm not sure. Dirty
Yeah.
blonde redhead
Yeah.
beard.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
saw a clip of him like comparing
The
like
black man?
labor.
You know, he's black.
What?
You gotta just watch it.
Oh my God. And then I keep seeing the other one.
13%
This like
black. He found
white
out
girl
his
being like trying to explain how they're gonna split their finances, and like
yeah.
the dude is like so illiterate, like financially,
He
like
says
illiterate.
that he is. So can I do like a little bit of spoiler for you? Do you mind?
Oh, do spoilers? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Whatever. Go ahead.
Slight
Because I'll
spoiler.
see
I'm
it
not
on
gonna
the internet
spoiler.
anyways.
Yeah. I'm not gonna like spoiler anything outside of what you just said. But like, this is the most unhinged.
Even more than last season.
This is the most unhinged episode.
What is the cast?
Season.
I'm so confused with.
I don't understand if, like, how do you not vet these people? I can't
Did you not learn your lesson from last season?
When you watch this, Ilana, when you watch this, you're gonna be like, there is no way any of this is little spoiler, I'm telling you, is the white man with the dirty blonde, he's kind of a ginger, right? Is that I hope that's not like a racial slur. I don't know. He's a redhead. And I'm like, I hope it's, I don't know. But he did his ancestry.com. So his whole life, his grandma said that they had, he was like an eighth Italian or something, like, or whatever. He was like, yeah, we got Italian in us and da da da. So his class ring, high school class ring, had an Italian flag. He's like, I got a little bit of flavor in me. I'm a little Italian or whatever, right? and and then he does his ancestry.com. The Italian was, or other European, was less than 3%, was like 3%. But honey, Jesse Wu calls him Oluwe Stephen. Oluwe Stephen. Because he had like 13 or 18%, something like that, West African. Nigeria, Congo. So I was proud. He was like, yeah, once he found all this out, he started doing research and trying to understand the culture a little bit or whatever. Because, that one tribe is like,
He said,
Twitter. Like he said, bam. I'm black.
Like cultured.
I am cultured. Hey. Immediately. All right.
Oh
So
my God.
how do I do the dance? You know, how do I shake it like immediately? Hey, Pidgin English. Now where to be that? I can speak Pidgin English immediately. Where can I learn this Pidgin English that my people are talking about? But the funny part is that
God.
the moment once he said that he had his drop,
Yeah.
can't unsee it. I bet you when you look at that man, you're gonna be
Now
like, "Yo, you black."
now I'm gonna see it. Now I'm gonna see it.
You're gonna see it.
Because now I need to watch it. The only reason why I haven't gone and watched it yet is because I know how crazy I get with it, and I know I have to have some time.
Oh yeah.
So that's the only reason why I haven't gone and watched anything yet. But I keep seeing clips, and I keep wanting to watch. But
Girl.
I don't want any. I'm trying to stay away so that I don't get any spoilers. I know.
Girl.
I know. But also, I didn't see any like couples that I was like really, because there were some storylines from the last season that really just had me in a chokehold.
Oh, you about to? No, this is gonna give it. Oh, okay. You just gotta start watching.
Okay. Oh, if you say so.
Oh, you're gonna get there. That's a promise. That is a guarantee. But Love is Blind.
Spoiler alerts if there's anyone else who like hasn't seen it and the things to be like.
No, it'll just be for that one. Just that little spoiler, just to get you to go watch this because that's not even the shocking part. That's all I'm gonna say.
Shocking part? Oh my gosh.
That's all I'm gonna say. Every episode gets more and more unhinged. I
really want Sammy to watch it with me, but I don't know if I can convince him to do that. I really want him to.
Oh, he needs to. He would love it.
It's so unhinged that I need someone else to experience in real time. I need someone to experience. In real time. Will you watch Love is Blind with me?
So there's a guy, his name is Tate.
Yeah.
Tate's Take. And he watches and does recaps.
Okay.
And I love his recaps. Like, so when you watch, go watch Tate's
Go watch the recaps. Okay.
I literally am in full tears and holleration every time.
In this dancery.
Like, in the dance. Yeah, like, he's wonderful. So maybe Sammy can watch that part.
Just, it's just pure drama for drama's sake. And I don't watch it like, I watch it knowing full well it's not going to necessarily like enhance my knowledge.
Oh yeah,
like it's not going to be for my brain. It's not good for my brain, but it
is good for your brain.
It just feels good for my
It relaxes you. Yes, it relaxes your brain.
Because when I watch the heinous ways that people be acting on that show, I look at my life and I'm like,
it's good.
Actually doing it as bad as I thought.
This is a great life. I get to design a cup and shit. I run a podcast and shit.
Communicate with my friends and family in a really healthy
Right. You have a healthy. You're not quitting your job to go on Love is Blind. Anyways.
No Tino shade, but all the shade.
No, that actually happened, and I won't tell you who. But I just love those shows. Like, they're just.
I know we've talked about this before.
These are real human beings. These are real human beings.
Don't
judge. Okay? If whoever is judging, judge away. Judge me. Okay? Judge me. Don't judge Elana. Judge me.
I don't know what it is. They really don't figure out the system because I cannot, even though on the outside as a person, like you would never think, like if people who know you and me as people would never think that would be a thing that we genuinely like are into.
It's so great.
It's just
like right up there with, because like this is real. Like y'all actually, this is really happening. You know what I mean? Like I can be a little bit delulu, but like I say I'm a little delulu. Like I'll say really delulu things, and I know I'm being delulu.
Are actually delulu.
They're for real.
It's crazy.
They're actually they believe this.
And here's the thing that I want to understand and I want to unlock, which I don't know if this kind of like leads into our like lesson moment, but I'm like, what? I want to know the process. Like, how does someone reach that level of delusion? Because here's the thing. So, like, they are also, as delusional as they are now, like, have, like, celebrity-esque type status, right? Like, people watch them on TV. People follow them on the internet. Like, they now have created, like, a brand for themselves. And so it's, like, as I think, too, like, maybe from a marketing perspective or sort of, like, from this other brain of mine, that I'm like, is that just what I have to do to get people to, like, pay attention to me? Do I just have to, like, literally be so insane?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, do you have to be crazy?
The psychology of it is crazy.
Yeah.
I just would love to know.
Like, what's happening with these people?
What is actually happening with these people? And, like, how do you... I don't know. How are you just so, like... I almost want to say inhumane, but not actually inhumane, but, like, the way that you will just, like, make, like, heinous decisions in front of a camera. Speaking as, like, me getting in front of a camera trying to film this podcast with you feels a little delulu sometimes, right? Where I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck am I doing? I'm just on a, I'm just filming myself, or like when we're filming content or like whatever, I'm like, what am I even doing? I'm just filming myself. But like for you to like literally be in front of a whole ass camera crew, like there's a whole ass camera crew, like filming you IRL, and you're like behaving that crazy.
Yeah.
In real life.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. It's insane, and I'm always here for it.
Always here for it.
I'm always here for it.
What's happening? What's going on?
Sorry, hold on.
Is the world falling apart?
Okay. So, real quick, before we go to our gratitude, I watched this thing on YouTube, and it was about a guy. Well, a guy he put on like and I liked what do you call it, an episode, a session? I don't know what you call it. I don't know. He filmed he had a thing where he kind of made it like a live documentary in a sense, but he put together everyone, like different clips from different people talking about this particular topic, which was ending relationships with family. And I added in close friends because I think that those could be hand in hand.
Yeah.
And he's like, one of his big things was a lot of people were talking about their moms. And he had said, even though his dad left him and he never knew his father, he said he had continues to have, like, his mom hurt him because she was a parent that stayed, but she still wasn't a parent to him. She didn't give him love, but she provided for him.
Right.
And I'm like, then there were so many people that were like, yeah, I've cut my parents off and I don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah.
And my parents refuse to acknowledge what they did to me and all these things. And, in the time of mental health, I understand that, like, people are going to therapy. I was talking to my brother about this because I'm like, why is this like a common thing, right? Like, people are going to therapy and then they cut off people.
Yeah.
Or then they'll say things like, they use therapy words in their day-to-day life. Like, someone can ask them to do something, stop controlling me, Or someone can say, did you think about, what made you decide on that hairstyle? I don't care about your thoughts. Like, there's these, like, it's a constant, like, and these buzzwords. And, but I'm like, is therapy teaching people how, like, what forgiveness is and how to forgive without hearing the words "I'm sorry" from the person that did you wrong. Because I know I've had to do that.
Yeah.
I've had to do that actually several times.
Same.
And we do it with our parents too. Like, our parents are just people.
Yes, I think this is such an interesting topic, because I think our parents parented sort of on the fly, if that makes sense. Like,
No
I
book.
felt
Ain't
like,
no book for that.
yeah, I feel like, and not to say that there weren't books that existed, or like, I feel like in the generation of like my parents and your parents and etc., like people would just sort of like start families. And,
Mhm.
not to say that there weren't people that like prepared to have a family, and there's exceptions to every rule, but sort of
Right.
like we're exiting the generation of people who just like had families just to have families and didn't really
Hmm.
understand the repercussions of like what it means to raise a human being that will one day have to be an adult and participate in society, and not really
Yeah.
understanding the gravity of those choices that they were making. So like therapy, it all depends on your therapist. Period. It all depends on your therapist. I think that there's a lot of emphasis on therapy empowering people to create boundaries that protect their safe space so that they can heal from the things that have hurt them. Whether or
Hmm.
not the sort of follow through at the end of that, to be like, okay, now you've healed yourself in this safe space. How do you then move forward from a forgiveness space, or from a like, you know, um, forgive or forget, or that sort of thing? I think that part of it, I know for myself, was something that I had to figure out outside of therapy, and something that I chose, like slightly circumstantial, but also like I'm still navigating. I have a parent
Yeah.
that I have chosen to distance myself from for a multitude of reasons. And it's a constant thing that I'm battling with, of like, I have to constantly check in with my decision to be like, is the space and is the boundary that I've created truly because it needs to protect my safety mentally? Or is it because I'm still angry? Or is it because, like, you know what I mean? I think it's like a constant needing to check in with myself and needing to like understand what that means for me. And I don't know what the sort of like, because every situation is so circumstantial. Do you know what I mean? Like the circumstances for which I made the
Yep.
decisions that I made, you know, were are valid, but someone else cutting off their parents for another reason that I might deem as like, I don't really think that's that deep, you know, is also me making assumptions about their own
Hmm.
mental health and their own experience
Hmm.
and all of these things. So I
Hmm.
think this is like such an interesting and difficult space to navigate, because I mean,
Yeah.
you're a parent. Um I would like to be a parent one day. And so, this I imagine that for you it also hits home of like, what if one day, you know, my son decides or feels that he had a very different experience of his upbringing than the experience that I thought I was giving him,
Right.
you know? And so
Right.
maybe for you as well, like wanting forgiveness, I don't know, that's the whole thing. I could go down a whole rabbit hole about it, because it's also
Yeah.
like for you as the parent wanting to be forgiven, do you wanting to be forgiven, not saying you specifically, but like
No,
you
yeah, in
as a
general.
parent, you know, are you wanting to be forgiven because you just don't want to deal with the guilt for the fact that you may not have done things right? You know what I mean? And then it's like, so where is where is that conversation? Where is the child is putting up these boundaries for whatever reasons. They are not forgiving or forgiving in their own way, or whatever it is, for whatever reasons. But then, okay, so what is the parent then doing on their end to then meet you in the middle and like try to reestablish that safe space so that they can be forgiven, or all these things that
Yeah.
like are,
Yeah, no, and I totally get it. So, to share my personal
yeah,
story. So my mom and I have always had like a wave of a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
And I love her to pieces. That's just been the reality of our relationship.
Yeah.
And I think part of it has to do with the fact that like I went away so early because we were all living together in the States until I was like maybe 3, 4. Then my sister, my dad, and I went back to Cameroon, and we didn't come back. We didn't see my mom again. Maybe she came to Cameroon to visit once. I can't remember. But like we didn't live as a family unit again until I was 7.
Right.
Right. So you go all these years and without having that mother there.
Right.
And my dad traveled a lot, but he was the parent that was more consistent, right? Like,
Right.
Which is part of why they made the decision, like, hey, there's not a lot of opportunity in Cameroon for my mom to come and make a life, and for my dad to be there. So I would imagine, I never really fully asked him this question, but like the decision to come back to the States was so we could be a family again, and
Yeah.
and all that. So, and the U.S. was just the best place at the time to be able to make that path forward.
Right.
But then instant my mom got pregnant. She had my brother, and you know, we had a very rocky several years. Like she's just regaining parenting,
Right.
right? Like you've been detached from your children for years, so now these people come back to you. A 3 or 4-year-old is not the same as a 7-year-old.
No.
It's not the same.
Their needs are different. How you discipline them is different.
Right,
Everything
it's different. They have their own thought processes, and so you know, do I agree with the way that we were disciplined? No, but like it's what my mother knew. And it took me a long time to get to that point, right? And, you know, I also struggled with having a voice and like using my voice.
Yeah.
For years. I still find myself struggling to a point sometimes, but it's because anytime that I would say something, my feelings were not, they weren't valid.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so it causes you to just get into a cocoon and to be.
Yeah.
That's probably why I talk a lot now, because I'm just like,
can't shut you up now.
See, I got a voice. But still, like even in, and also like in relationships, friendships and such, like I do, there's times where I still find myself struggling. Like if I feel like the words that I'm going to say is going to cause this person to leave, I'm less likely to just say it. So I have to I'm always fighting that balance,
right?
But it's always derived from our childhoods, right? So,
right.
So there was a time where, we had a really abrupt and unhealthy family argument. I mean, it was pretty terrible. And it surrounded the root of it was I felt like I was not getting my mom's approval. She wasn't validating my accomplishments. Instead, the accomplishments that I had were being validated on like with someone else. And it just made, you know, and so, and I'm like, why can't you see me for who I am? Why can't I be good enough? Why is there always why? Yeah, you're proud that I went to college, or you're proud that but like certain things, I just don't know that, I don't feel like you don't hold me on that pedestal. But these were things that I also had to realize it's not, these are things that I thought that this is what my mother needed to give to me. Right. I was relying on this person to give these things to me. And so we had this like terrible argument, and my dad was just so heartbroken. And there was some there too, like my parents were married for a long time. And, you know, I always kind of was like, why doesn't daddy like say more? But you don't know what their conversations are behind closed doors either. Yeah, you don't. So, but my brain wasn't working in that way necessarily, right? But after the incident happened, a few days later, my dad went back. They were back home. My dad called me to check on me, and I was just so frustrated. I was so frustrated because he said to me, "Well, when you know better, you should do better, right?" And I was like, what the heck, dude? Like, I'm tired of being the bigger person. I'm tired of, it took me a long, I had to like really like pray on it and like start getting in a different, it was only through, I always lean on my faith. That's what always kind of helps me like reveal certain things. And, but it was a good, so that incident happened like May. It was the same year my mom, was it May? No, a year and a half or so later. So it took me about 6 months to get through things. And then I can't remember. Hold on. I maybe have my dates wrong. I can't remember. So no, it was in the fall. It wasn't in May. It was in the fall. So yeah, it like took me like 6 months or so, maybe a little bit longer to kind of get my wits about myself. And I remember that next summer, I started getting in a better place with my mother. And then I had a dream that she passed away. I knew she was gone because we were all in black and she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to December. So like that whole time span, I mean, it was like 4 or 6 months. I just was waiting on a call.
Yeah.
Then I finally got a call.
Yeah.
And it was saying my mom was like fighting for her life. Like she's gone and they're trying to bring her back. And I was so thankful, like even months before that, like she was going for a job and she like was so mad at me. She cussed me out, hung up the phone on me. I called her the next day and I was like, girl, we good? Because I had moved past that. Like I finally understood what my dad was saying, was like, you can't allow someone else's behaviors to control who you are.
Yeah.
And my son's dad would actually say that to me all the time because, you know, he was just not in a good headspace. And so he would take out a lot of things on me. He'd be very nasty. And then I would essentially then turn. Yeah. And he would say, well, I should not control how you feel. I'm like, you motherfucker, like,
right.
And so as I'm going through all of that, like that was really something that came to mind, right? Was like, yeah, I can't allow someone else to control how I show up.
Yeah.
That's not fair to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I hear a lot of what's happening with these kids, and there's been times where, I haven't spoken to my parents. We've gone long spurts of time, but it was before I kind of was in this place.
Yeah.
But I am, especially as a parent, I'm very intentional about keeping an open dialogue with my kid. And like, that's one thing that we always do. So, but I think that passed because it allowed me to know how to be better.
Yeah.
For that next generation. So it does hurt my heart when I see families not at all communicating because, you know, I believe in setting healthy boundaries, but there's nothing worse than getting that call.
How do you, because at the end of the day, the forgiveness aspect isn't for the other person, it's for you.
For you.
Like, whatever you do on the other side of that, whether you choose to continue to communicate with them or not, you know, I think that's the bigger thing of like, you don't have to, it's not going to like get rid of the scar. Do you know what I mean? Like if you experience, if someone cuts your arm off, you know, and you decide to forgive them, you're not going to regrow an arm. Like it just doesn't work that way. Yeah.
But it's freeing. I will say, like, as someone who has come from, I've had that full gambit of experience to not communicating and to where I'm communicating, but then, and I'm still seeking validation to where, like, I've just, you know, at the end of it, it's so freeing. And I think for me, the perspective is so different because I am a mother.
Because you're a mom. Yeah.
And because I do see the benefits in as perfectly imperfect as my upbringing might have been, there's so much benefit because I've learned and I can do something different with my kid, right? Like, through that. And so do I still get frustrated at things? Of course I do. I still have my moments, but I've learned that these people are who they are. And you can still have boundaries without just like cutting off that arm completely, right? The boundaries are real. No, you don't have to talk to that person every day. You don't have to talk to them it could just still be a check-in or whatever. But that's like the person that has sacrificed, especially if someone has sacrificed for you, if they've really been there. And I think a lot of that comes from my dad. Like my dad, the way I saw him honor his mom, like actually it makes me emotional. Mm-hmm. Because some of the stories he told me about his childhood, like he literally has such an incredible childhood of, I mean, he's in the market selling at like 2-3 years old.
Yeah.
He's living with other families at 4.
Yeah.
But he always put allegiance to the person that gave him life simply because he has life.
Yeah.
And the way I saw him continue to care for his mother until she died, like I could only pray that my son would be that empathetic and towards me for being perfectly imperfect. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't want to like put all his whole story out there.
No,
but
I get you.
He's really, and that kind of helped me too on the journey. Cause I'm like, yo, if you could still like show homage
yeah.
homage to this woman and understand that, hey, she just didn't know better.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know, it's just so beautiful to me. So yeah, my heart kind of aches a little bit for that. It's millennials, it's all generations, right? Like my mom has been through it. Our parents, ourselves, the next generation, like everyone kind of is going through this. I do like the fact that people are openly talking about it because it does allow for that community and for you to kind of share. What I would like to see more of though is like a mutual understanding versus again that separation, right? Because you're seeing parents saying, "Well, forget you kids," and y'all so da da da. And
yeah.
You see the ones that are creating those boundaries say this is the reason why, but it's like, maybe I don't know. I try to respect my family in a really good way because my parents have been beyond incredible to me. Again, they're perfectly imperfect, but like just kind of being on that both sides where I've been there, and then I'm also a mom, and I've also seen how the things that I wish I had younger, potentially, that voice that I had that I didn't have, kind of ensuring I'm providing that to my kid and like just being more intentional about parenting in that way. Yeah. There's no way that I would have been that way without having that upbringing. So
yeah, I say that all the time of like, not that I would ever actively choose to put myself through the trauma that I've gone through, I don't think I would ever actively choose that again, but I also don't wish that it never happened to me because it wouldn't, the person that I am and the way that I move and how I communicate in all relationships, I would not be if I hadn't gone through what I went through. And I think that it is beautiful, like that sort of like aspect of yourself that like had to sort of like phoenix, and like rise from that deep dark place so that you can make the safe space for the next person or people or generation, or even just like even within my relationship or even I noticed with my mom of us being in this really unique position recently in our relationship where being able to like have the safe space to help facilitate working through some of her childhood trauma that she didn't even realize until much later in life that she's going through, like why she is the way that she is, through me learning about myself and healing that part of myself and communicating that to her has helped her like realize things about herself.
And I really think that parents also should do a better job of like saying that they're not perfect, right? And I think that's where like parents, like in my group, like age group, like newer parents are are able to kind of say that, like, no, I'm not perfect. Please remove that. And I tell Tristan, I've been saying it all the time. Like, I am the chief of bad moms. Okay. I am just navigating the best that I can. And you might have a therapy bill when you get older, but guess what? Just remember all the money I spent on all the other things. And please, I beg, I hope it cancels it out. Okay. I'm sorry in advance for like jacking you up. My bad. Like, and I'm open and I'm candid about that because it's a fact. Like, it's a freaking fact.
Yeah.
And parents have to stop acting like we're not freaking perfect, man. Like just go give me a margarita. Go pour mommy some wine.
Right.
Okay.
You're not
Mommy needs her wine.
And especially mommy needs her wine.
Mommy needs her wine, please. Yeah. So, but anywho, yeah. I know that was probably like a really like touchy one, but I saw that and I was like, I just had to bring that up in our chat.
It's important because I think exactly what you said, like, we're not perfect, but also like I hope that the next step forward from that is like, I may not be perfect, and that's not necessarily an excuse for me to be able to behave however I want to behave.
Right.
You know, I'm not perfect, and I see that I'm flawed, and I'm going to do my best to learn from my own mistakes in the same way that, you know, in the same way that you are also learning from my mistakes in real time. Yeah. I want to also learn from my mistakes
in real time. Anyway, this is a great chat. I know it's like mad long.
It's okay.
It's
fine. It's okay because the last one that we did was so short that I feel like we owed a really, really long one.
A really long one. Yeah, to the people that are just riding around. In my mind, like, I do it. Do you listen to our podcast? I listen to our podcast. I be listening to it, and I just I'll just kiki or I'm like, man, I really said that, or I'm like, oh my god, Alana's so funny, or like, I don't know, it's weird. But I listen to it sometimes, like in the morning, or if I'm like driving somewhere, I'll just kind of throw it on, and it makes me feel like
views are from viewers, and it's just Nancy re-listening to it. Number one fan of Sips and Conversations.
Yeah, number one fan. Go Sips. Okay, so before we hop off, we gotta share our gratitude. Like, what are you most thankful for?
So many things that I'm grateful for this.
Let me go first.
Yeah, you go first. I feel like I always go first. You go first this week.
Okay. So I'm thankful for, and I actually prepped this in advance.
That's why you're like, I can go first. I prepared.
I'm thankful for doctors, man. Like, I'm thankful for the gift of physicians, because like they really cure. I'm also thankful for like natural practitioners, right, that allow us to like get options to react, or to be proactive versus reactive and having to have surgery long term. So that's my gratitude moment. Like, yesterday I walked 2.2 miles and didn't have to stop and stretch, and I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
that's big.
So it's pretty major. So I can't wait to where I can like did I hurt a little? Yeah, but I didn't have to stop and stretch. My hip wasn't burning. Right. So that's my gratitude moment. And I'm thankful for my brother and my dad, who were also resources. So I call them it's Dr. Daddy and Dr. Poopy. He hates when I call him that. But
I'll bleep it in the edit so that
I know Dr. Bleep. And but yeah, to them both, because I called my dad and shared with him like some of the treatment. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's what this eSIM does." This, so they validated like what the doctor was saying, and then my brother gave me some questions to ask the chiropractor, more surrounding like core strength, and like, so I asked him that yesterday. He was like, great questions, and so I'm just thankful for doctors, man. Shout out to y'all.
I feel like I'm gonna be a bit corny with my gratefulness this week. feeling super grateful just for my partner and my relationship, honestly, this week.
Oh,
It's been a big adjustment moving in together and having to navigate all that. Um, there's an ice cream truck outside.
I was like, is he listening? Is he like?
He's definitely
Is
sitting
he
right next to
like?
me, but I don't think he's listening.
You know?
I don't think he's actively listening to me.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm feeling super grateful for that. Or even tonight, his brother's coming over to just like hang out, and
okay.
I'm feeling super grateful that I can still like host family like I would if I was at home. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah,
still being able to do that, because if I
yeah,
wasn't in this relationship, then like I would just be in my flat by myself all the time. I mean, I have
yeah,
my friends, but I'm constantly grateful for like the extended
yeah.
sort of like network of family and friends that he's brought into my life, and himself, obviously.
Hmm.
But like, that's where I feel
Oh,
grateful.
I love
Love.
it a lot. I love love. No, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks for sharing your time with me today.
Oh yeah. I just missed you.
All right, y'all. So I don't know. Alana, take us out.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what you do.
here's the thing. What you can do is, if you aren't already, freaking subscribe. If you just stumbled upon this and you're just listening, and you made it this far, you must like us. So it
Okay,
costs you nothing.
long ass video.
It costs you absolutely nothing to follow us, and you'll probably forget about it anyways. So just do
Hmm.
it.
Yeah,
You can find us on
and
the
don't forget to
interweb.
hit the notifications button
Yeah,
so
hit the
that you
bell.
know when we upload.
Yeah, hit the bell so that you know when we upload, even if you're not going to watch it ever again. Um, you can find
Yeah,
us
that
on
doesn't
the
matter.
interwebs. All of our handles and everything will be in the description. And if you feel like you want to give the gift of sips to someone this year, you can find our merch on the website. That will also be linked in the description.
Yes.
And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great rest of your night, depending on whatever time of day you're watching this.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace out.